I mean, would you look at that? Bang on time, bang on 8 o'clock. That is how you do it. Hello and welcome back to Gooner Gathering with the preview show for West Ham versus Arsenal on Sunday afternoon. Without further ado, my name is Posh Bertie. I am the poshest man in all of sports entertainment, and I am solo Sokoa, right? I'm proper soloing it today. The chat is flooding in already. Gooner Gathering, Lee Meadows is in there saying, what a professional. You see, we aim to please here. Mahir Topal says hi. Hello. I don't believe your name's come in the chat before. Great to see you. Please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you find yourself enjoying this here video. So, without further ado, let's get on with the video. This is, of course, the preview show for the Arsenal game on Sunday against West Ham United. I'm going to be talking about my thoughts regarding the game, what coming up. AFC, always good to see you here. I'll also be showing you the lineup that I would put out. And there's some various team news as well that we're going to be discussing. So lots to digest here. Arsenal players best and worst, says Luke Chapman. Well, the best player is Declan Rice. The worst player is another signing we made for £65 million. You've already liked and subscribed. Thank you, Mahir. It appreciated, much appreciated. We're lively today. The chat's lively. We got a great number of people watching. We're in business already. Now I haven't even got started yet. Okay. So Arsenal are facing West Ham United on Sunday afternoon, 2 p.m. I don't know what the scheduling is in terms of doing a watch along. One thing's for sure is that I won't be there because I'll be at my family's house. It's my nan's birthday, okay? So if you want to blame anyone for me not appearing on Sunday, blame my grandmother, okay? For being born on February the 11th. No, she's a lovely woman. Business is about to pick up. By God, it certainly is. Jim Ross right there. Okay, so if Arsenal facing West Ham, you will be there. Excellent. You'll be doing a watch along, I take it. So, and Mr. Meadows, got to give credit to him, did a fantastic job with the watch along against Liverpool last week, and I know he's going to do a fantastic job during the West Ham game. So, best of luck to him on Sunday. I will try and tune in if I can. We'll have to see what happens with me there. Okay. So, speaking of the Liverpool game, that's where we've got to pick ourselves up from. After our emphatic win, 3-1 win over Liverpool, you know, a lot of Arsenal fans, we're getting giddy, we're getting excited, we're getting, you know, it's all prosperous now. We are at this point in time, mathematically, we are back amongst it. We're back in the title picture, which is very good considering some of the more disappointing results. One against West Ham, funnily enough. But after winning 3 wins on the bounce in the league, we're now back in contention. We're back up there in the title picture. But it's up to us, however, it's up to us to keep it that way. We can beat Liverpool all we want, and that's all well and good, but we've got to make that win count. The win against City was great. The win against Liverpool was great, but we've got to make it count come the end of the season. Otherwise, it doesn't mean anything. And we've got to start that way against West Ham. And look, we know, I mean, West Ham have been our bogey team all season. I think Declan Rice must have done a bit of a deal with the Hammers when it comes to facing us. He must perform badly against his old club to do them a favour. That's what it feels like. West Ham have beaten us twice this season in the Carabao Cup, which was at their ground, and at the Emirates Stadium in December. We need to be careful here because if my maths is correct, if they beat us again it's going to be 3 in a row. We don't want that. You know, Declan Rice signing from West Ham to expand his career only for his old club to beat us 3 on the trot. That's not right. That sounds a little bit banter, in my opinion. That sounds a bit like a joke. But it's in danger of becoming reality if we don't buck our ideas up against West Ham. We have to learn from the mistakes we made the past 2 games against them. So, look, I'm not gonna pretend that it's an easy game and it's gonna be a cakewalk. It's not. You know, West Ham are going to come off the back of a really disappointing performance against Man United when they held 3 last week. So they're going to be fired up. They're going to want to prove that actually they are still amongst the top 5, top 6 contenders. And they're going to make sure, and you know, again, they've got Arsenal coming up, a team they know how to beat. So they're going to be motivated. They're going to want to come back full steam ahead after a disappointing performance against Man United. And it's up to Arsenal. We need to be at it. Absolutely. It's up to Arsenal to make sure that, you know, we can maintain our good form. It's nice to beat Liverpool. It's always nice to beat Liverpool, but we've got to make it count. We've got to make sure that we can use that win to spur us on to, I don't want to say spur because it sounds like Spurs. We're not Spurs. That can exceed us to great things. And that's what we need to do. We've got to pick up our form. And like I said, I'm not going to pretend it's going to be an easy game. It's going to be a tricky game, but we need to be at our best to make sure we actually win, because I don't want to lose 3 in a row to West Ham, especially when we signed one of their best players last season. Seems a little bit embarrassing, but it's going to be hard. You know, I got to mention West Ham's 2 best players for me are one of their attacking players, Jared Bowen, Mohamed Kudus. They're going to want to show face against us. They're going to want to turn up, and they will. It's at their ground. Ward-Prowse as well. We get a free kick in a dangerous zone. Ward-Prowse West Ham get a free kick in a dangerous zone. Ward-Prowse will be there. He knows where the top bins are. We're in better form. I agree, but we went on a bit of an undefeated run before we played West Ham at the Emirates. Did we? No, maybe not. Maybe it was like 2 or 3 games or something. But look, 3 games, only conceding 1 goal. However, what my concern is, not just, you know, the 3 in a row when West Ham are good and all that, it's away from home. And I still stand by this point today. In all of the away games we've played, we've only had a convincing performance once away from home. Now, it was the Bournemouth game where we won 4-0. Now, I'm not saying we need to beat West Ham 4-0. I think that will be an incredibly tough ask to do. It'll be nice, but it'll be unrealistic to think that. But we do need to show that we can be convincing away from home. We can come out of the London Stadium as the better team. That's what I want us to do, to win and be the better team. That will show that we are the serious title challengers that we need to be. And I still stand by the fact that we've only been convincing in 1 away game. You could say the Sevilla game in the Champions League, but those last 10 minutes, they were nervy. And it's been the story of our away form. We seem to start off well, then sometimes we concede a silly consolation goal and we're holding on for dear life in the last 10 minutes. That's what I see. And we can't afford to do that against West Ham, especially if Bowen, Kudus, Ward-Prowse, and especially if they're still on the pitch. Because, you know, if we're holding on to a narrow 2-1 victory in the last 10 minutes and those players are still on, I fancy them to pick up a late equaliser. I fancy them to go on and push us to our limit. And Mark Leonard midfielder has been the worst player. Oh, Mark Leonard and Tyree Simpson. Worst players for Northampton. Thank you very much, Luke. Okay, there you go. That's the news from the Cobblers there. Thank you very much, Luke. You've made me lose track of thought there. We can't let West Ham at it if we're winning 2-1 or 3-2, because they're going to be fired up and ready to strike when needed. So we need to really go all guns blazing. We got to make sure that we are the better team on the day. We got to go into West Ham's yard and say, hey, in the immortal words of one tribal chief, this is our yard now. Okay? We got to make sure we own the place. I'm not saying win 4-0, 5-0, because that's unrealistic. You're not going to do that. But come out of that game, convincing away performance, which is what we've been lacking this season, and win to prove that we can be in contention. We're back in the title picture. Because if we don't, it'll be a very Arsenal thing for us to beat Liverpool and look like a good side, and then a game later lose our next game. We can't do that. So it's time to acknowledge us. We need to be acknowledged. We need to prove that we're one of the tribal chiefs in the Premier League as well. But it's going to be tough because I've mentioned West Ham's players. Bowen and Kudus I've mentioned. They've got some other great players as well. Apart from that cat-kicking piece of garbage, Kurt Zouma, playing for them. And Mavropanos as well. No stranger to playing against us. He scored against us. Souček as well. They've got some decent players, and we need to make sure that we are turning up on our day. Right, enough of me waffling. Let's go on. Let's talk about the team news now. Our illustrious manager has given his 2 cents in his press conference. How will they keep our attack quiet? Well, this is what I'm going to talk to you about. Talking about the team news here. Although we're not talking about our attack just yet. The team news is, and this is encouraging news, Takahiro Tomiyasu is returning for the West Ham game. I've heard that he is going to return. I hope he does, because then I hope he is, because the lineup that I've got, my predicted lineup that I want, will look a bit silly. But Tomiyasu looks to be back for the game, and that's very good, because I've said this has been my hill to die on all season. Even though he's a right back, he's a better left back than Zinchenko, because I feel more assured, unless it's against Fulham at Craven Cottage, I feel more assured I feel reassured having Tomiyasu at left back rather than Zinchenko, because you don't see him drift into midfield. And when you're at home to a team like, I don't know, Sheffield United, you can get away with inverted stuff. Away to West Ham with their attack, there is no time for inverted nonsense. You've got to go with a solid left back. Or if Tommy isn't available, you got to do what Zinchenko did against Liverpool. Make him stick to the left back position. Glue him to there. You don't want to have any inverted stuff when you're away to West Ham. That can leave so many gaps in our defence for Jared Bowen to have a lot of free time, and it will cost us dearly. So I'm hoping Tomiyasu is back. It looks like he is, and he can solidify our defence, make our defence more, rock solid, rock on, Tommy, as Lee says. Other pieces of team news was, I believe, there was concern over Bukayo Saka. He picked up a knock against Liverpool. He came off limping. I know that's a bit typical for Saka nowadays, because we seem to run him into the ground too much. But he came off limping against Liverpool. Bit of concerns there. It looks like he will be available. It looks like he is fit. However, we'll go into my lineup in a minute. I don't want to risk anything. Saka, for me, You know when I talked about how last season Granit Xhaka had his best season in an Arsenal shirt? This season it's been one of Saka's worst seasons. He's not been the same star boy as we know he can be. And he is a good player. He can be a good player. We saw it in the previous seasons when he's been wearing the shirt. This season's not been the same. I can think of a lot of attackers that have been better than him this season. Jared Bowen's one of them. So it's time. I would say it's time for Saka to step up, but we'll get to my lineup in a minute. Zinchenko didn't play the whole game against Liverpool. Maybe Tommy does start. I hope he's available because I don't want to have Kivior at left back against West Ham. So yeah, if he is available, and I think he is, then yeah, I would think Tommy should start. I don't know if you, Mr. Meadows, have heard anything regarding Zinchenko's injury status. Is he available? Regardless if he is or is, even if he was 100% fit, I'd still start Tomiyasu in this game. I think that's the team news, really. Saka looks to be fine. Tomiyasu's back. Thomas Partey won't be available. Apparently, hopefully he'll be back in the next few weeks, next 2 weeks or so on. Here's something I want to talk to you about. I'll mention this. This is about another game, but we're talking about the West Ham game at the moment. But it's regarding another potential left back, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's move on now to this isn't what I think is going to happen. It's what I want to happen. This is the lineup that I think. In his pre-West Ham conference, the boss said that Zinchenko, Tomiyasu, and Jesus, there we go, Jesus is also available, continue to be assessed and a decision will be made after Saturday. Jesus looks to be fine as well, from what I've heard. And I hope so, because my predicted lineup will look a bit silly if it isn't. This is the lineup that I would go with against West Ham. David Raya in goal. This is pretty much 95. Jesus is back. 85-90% of the lineup against Liverpool. Actually, no, it isn't because there's 3 changes. Ignore me when I say that. This is the Liverpool lineup mixed with a few bolstering options. So David Raya in goal. Ben White at the right back, or White at the back. Saliba and Gabriel, that illustrious partnership in defence. Tomiyasu, if he's available, will be left back. We need to have a more solid defence against West Ham. Bertie maths, you don't want that. Bertie maths is not good. My GCSE results prove it. No. I would keep Jorginho and Rice. I know Jorginho might have not had... In fact, he was probably one of our worst players in the Carabao Cup against West Ham. But he's on fine form. And when it comes to the Liverpool game, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Jorginho and Rice in the box-to-box role, I think will work well. And it's games like this where Jorginho, Premier League game, important one, we could do with Jorginho in midfield. Odegaard as attacking midfielder. You know me. I'd love to see Smith Rowe start, but I think we'll end up with Odegaard. And, hopefully he can turn up. I don't want to risk anything with Saka. Not just because he came off limping against Liverpool, but I just think he needs to be not put in time out, but he needs a bit of a break. I just don't think he's been the same star boy as he's been this season. Trossard, against Liverpool, he played well. I know he's a better impact player from off the bench, but I'll see Trossard, Martinelli, Jesus on the wings. Maybe Jesus on the wing and Trossard up front. I don't know. that could be an option. And also on the bench, Smith Rowe can come on. Saka can come on as well. Who else? Not Nketiah. So we'll have some options on the bench as well. Let's get rid of this picture here. There you go. True Gooner. Hello, Josh. Good to see you. As Lee also says, big up to Josh. Good to see you, True Gooner. Hope you're well. We're just discussing my predicted lineup for the game. And I also talked about what I think you could expect from us against West Ham. I said how we need to build upon our win against Liverpool to make sure that we go on and beat West Ham. Because we've got some tough fixtures coming up. We've got Newcastle coming up. I think, is that our next game afterwards? And Porto in the Champions League. These are tough fixtures. And we've got to make sure that we can hang with these people. We've got to make sure that we can blend in with the big boys and get these important victories. True Gooner says Trossakers with Saka. I love Saka, but again, picking up a knock against Liverpool. I mean, Saka at 100% hasn't been the best this season. I'm going to be brutally honest. So putting him when he's like 75% against West Ham, I don't know. Might be I'm not sure. That's why I'd start Trossard on the right, in my opinion. And Martinelli and Jorginho, you've got to start them. They're in good form. But I don't want Jorginho. He can be a bit inconsistent at times, but you've got to have your faith in some of these players. Because Jorginho and Martinelli were the players of the match against Liverpool. You can't really drop them, can't you? So I definitely have them. They deserve to start. They deserve to start on Sunday. After turning up when it matters against Liverpool, which is not exactly what we're known for doing. Oh my word! Hello. I was just discussing the team.
I know you were. I've been watching some. I think Mrs. M will be in very, very shortly. So I thought I'd jump in and give you someone to work off.
Oh, excellent! I was holding.
You were doing grand. You were doing grand.
Okay. But what do you make of my predicted lineup / what I'd like to happen? What do you think of it?
I like your defence very much so. That looks good to me. The old idea of Jorginho playing in the middle again. Yeah, absolutely no reason for him to come out the side. Your striking options are a little bit different. You're missing a couple of people, I think.
If you're talking about Nketiah, he is taking his rightful position as a bench warmer.
No, what I'm thinking, you said Saka's looking a little tired and everything, right? So my take on that is, didn't he just have about 10 days in Dubai?
That was a few weeks ago, and he came off injured, limping against Liverpool. And look, I don't like saying this. Saka at 100% has not been the same as we've seen him maybe last season. It's not been one of his best seasons with us. So to have, if that's the case, Saka at 75% against West Ham? I don't know. I think we need to. Trossard did well against Liverpool bench. We need to, we got to repay him. We got to Trossard on the right. It's an idea.
Yeah, it's an idea. I don't think that's what Arteta's going to do. But
no, I don't. I think it'll be Saka and Martinelli.
Or I perhaps think Havertz might start at number 9 again if there's a bit of a doubt on Jesus. Wouldn't necessarily want to risk him there. Potentially go very similar to what we did against Liverpool, perhaps, and change at left back, perhaps. Maybe the one you suggested.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think Tomiyasu's available, and as I said, when you're against West Ham, who are going to come forward, you got to have a solid defence. So
absolutely. I mean that's the key thing, especially away from home, isn't it? You want to be a bit more solid. You want to make sure we don't concede, especially early doors. Otherwise, that will get certainly yours truly a little bit nervous. But I've got to go at it being confident, especially after how we played against Liverpool. That's how we've got to be.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to pick up on our fine form we've been in. You've got to take it to the London Stadium and build upon what we've done ever since the Palace game. We've got to make sure we're back amongst it, and because if we don't, then well, it'll be carnage amongst the Arsenal fans, won't it? Mostly from me.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, just the minute they can see the goal, you go off on one, don't you? So, but it's true, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's not just me. A lot of Arsenal fans are reactionary people. But yeah.
I think maybe this is where I'm a little bit different. But you know, I just sort of try and keep a bit more of a clear head on the whole thing. I think we have a run in. We have a run in. Mrs. M is in the building.
Oh, excellent.
Coming in from Tesco Town, which she can't hear. I've got the headphones thing on.
Oh, so I've just shouted in your ear then. I apologise.
It's all right. Your voice is always ringing in my ears, mate. Don't worry about that.
You might need to go see a doctor for that. Anyway,
I hear Bertie's voice in my head.
Please don't. I feel deeply sorry for you if that's the case. Another thing that I discovered regarding Arsenal is one Jurien Timber. Remember him?
I do remember him.
He has been included. He's been included in the squad. Hello, Mrs. M. He's Timber. Timber has been. Oh,
hello.
Hello.
Hello, Anna. How are you?
A bit wet.
What a contribution.
And what's the weather like?
Bertie with the blue joke straight off the bat.
It would start raining the moment
I know. I saw it was going to start raining right at 8 o'clock. Nightmare.
Family-friendly channel. Anyway, let's talk about Jurien Timber, shall we? He's been included in our squad to face Porto in the Champions League. Encouraging signs. Do you think we'll see him back by then? Or is it a bit of a fever dream?
Okay. So what you mean to say he's been named in the players in the squad.
He's been registered.
You know, for select, for been registered.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think for a second that he's going to be involved. Certainly not this week. Maybe not the week after, but soon. It's going to be encouraging. I was talking about
against Porto rather than the game on Sunday.
You reckon? Yeah, okay.
Again, probably best case scenario on the bench and coming on for about 10 minutes.
Probably more likely to see him in the second leg in March, I would have thought.
Yeah.
But what I will say is it's going to be very encouraging that Timber is coming back. We remember how positive we were raving about him, weren't we, during pre-season? Remember that happy time?
Yeah, Community Shield as well. And when he was featured against Forest, he was one of our best players on the pitch.
He was.
I think at the time when he got injured, we were saying the best case scenario was around March. And now that we're talking about him in the next few weeks, you know, being included or being registered as part of our 20-odd man squad in the Champions League, that's very encouraging. It's good to see him coming back. I just hope. I know ACL. I mean, thankfully, I've not suffered an ACL before, and I intend to keep it that way.
Yeah,
which is why I don't exercise. It's why it's
sport hurts.
Exactly.
Riding on scooters does too.
Rick, you know, it's an absolute nightmare, and I think I'm pleased. I'm pleased he's recovering swiftly.
Yeah, let's just hope the training isn't too intense for him, though, eh?
Yes, we don't want him to be Thomas Partey and Gabriel Jesus to an extent, but he was injury prone.
In all seriousness, anyway. the club will be very, very sensible with him. The ACLs, the club have got plenty of experience of dealing with the ACLs. I can tell you, for example, just seeing Leah Williamson make a first start in the WSL last weekend for the season. You know, that's taken a long time to come back, and they're very careful in looking after them. So and like I said, Williamson only did 45 minutes against West Ham last week, so they'll be careful with her.
Against West Ham, it all links in.
Yeah,
all links
I know.
into-
But and what you're saying is very true, because West Ham turned us over in the WSL last week, as Matt did told us on the report yesterday. So
Yeah,
yes.
so both men and women's West Ham own us at the moment. We can't let that happen on Sunday.
No, absolutely.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts going into the game on Sunday, though? Because I've said what my thoughts are. What say you?
My thoughts. I think you're very much focusing on how good the West Ham players are, and I get that. I get that. They're going to be wondering how on earth they're going to deal with Martinelli and Saka. That's what they're going to think.
Especially Martinelli, if he keeps his form going. If we get the Martinelli against Liverpool, then they're West Ham's defence in for a ride.
Exactly, and they've had their troubles of late. They got dumped out of the FA Cup themselves to Bristol City. They've had a bad little bit of a run. So, and they've had their disciplinary issues as well. They've had several red cards in the last few games as well. So look, I'm looking at us making a solid start. Don't do anything silly. I would, I'd expect us to win, and I'm confident we're going to. Don't tell that to my pal Trevor, though, eh? Trevor Brooking, obviously.
It's what I'm just concerned about, because West Ham, they're coming off the back. They lost to Man United. It wasn't a good performance from them, from what I heard.
Yeah.
And what better way for them to come back into life than the home fixture against a team that they love to beat, especially this season.
So maybe if we go out, we go out all full guns blazing, shut the crowd up quick, and go home early.
We've got to bring our A game, haven't we?
Absolutely. That's what it's all about, mate. And this is what I kind of spoke about when we sort of had the shutdown for the break. So okay, we've got so far. And I think maybe a few people were looking a bit tired, and there were a few injuries and stuff like that around. I thought, well, look, what we have to go on here is look more of a not worrying about what other teams are doing, and concentrate more on a game by game basis of what we're doing, and that's exactly what I think we've done. And some of the performances might have been a little bit iffy for some of them, but you look at when you play a top team like Liverpool, and do the business, then you're going to think, well, okay, opens a window a little bit, that gap gets a little bit tighter. We'll see how, and all we can do is keep on doing that. And
absolutely,
then
be very Arsenal fit.
Yeah, and when we come to the next really tough games, we've got to deal with that sort of situation. But my head doesn't go any further than West Ham at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a very Arsenal thing if we end up beating Liverpool. We all go, "Oh, we're back in the race," and then we lose to West Ham. So we don't want to Arsenal everything up. We got to make sure that we're.
God's sakes! I was just going to say, you said Bertie is going to be doing the one that's keeping it real, because you're the real one, Bertie. You know that.
Well, I want to make sure that we don't bottle it again. We got to make sure that, because I mentioned our away form, okay? Yes, we have won games away from home. They've been a bit shaky sometimes, apart from the Bournemouth game. So, wouldn't it be great? A very good West Ham side, we get a convincing away win. That would make me think, okay, we're back to business now. Yeah,
that's the positive, Bertie. That's what I want to hear. Fighting talk.
We've got to do it. We've got to do it to make sure that we're back amongst the big boys this time.
Come on, guys! Ding! Light bulb moment.
What's your prediction then?
All right, I'll go 3-0 Arsenal. There you go. On record.
Ooh, 3-0.
Yes. Bang! There you go.
If Tomiyasu's back, will our defence be more solid? And you know what? I'll be a positive guy. I'll say 2-0.
There you go. My influence is rubbing off on you there.
We
Sam.
beat Newcastle at St James's Park 2-0 last season, and that was only the second time that whole season they lost at home. So we can do that. We can
That's the
beat
sort of
West Ham at the
performance.
London Stadium.
Exactly the sort of performance we're looking for. Yes.
AFC always says if we don't beat West Ham, the Liverpool result means nothing. I agree, and that's why you've got to do it.
But like I said, even if God forbid the worst happens, or then what happens? You go on to the next game, which happens to be the Porto game in the Champions League. Some of us might think, we're going to do pretty good in the Champions League as well. Others of us might think, maybe not so much. But we'll see. All we can do is one game at a time.
Yeah. I think we've got enough quality to beat Porto. I've seen the comment. I'll bring that up later. We've got enough quality to beat Porto. If we come up against Real Madrid, that's when. That's when if that happens, I'm strangely looking forward to that.
I'm old enough to remember a very fine night at the Bernabeu Stadium when
did a certain French striker steal the show there?
It was the showstopper, the headliner. He
yes.
was the main event that night. Thierry Henry run them riot, run ragged. As Thierry often did. Maybe Kai Havertz can be that man at the.
Yeah, and then we turn off the PlayStation and stop playing FIFA. AFC always says Arsenal need to slap West Ham like what The Rock did to Cody. I completely agree. We need to be the ones to finish our stories.
That's it. That's what's exactly. And then we can go ahead and headline WrestleMania.
Absolutely. It's Eddie and Nketiah going to dethrone Roman Reigns.
Do the thing.
What? Oh.
Wrestling pose.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm the Rock and you're Roman. Ooh. Anyway. Yes, we did. We need to stuff the living what sits out of the hammers. Yeah, that'll be very nice. They'll be blowing bubbles before they know it.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. But look, other than that, there's actually we'll go and switch gears and talk about something else that I am very. So yesterday, a bit of news came out that the Premier League, is it the Premier League or football as a whole, considering introducing blue cards and or sin bins, where a player, if they commit a foul of some sort, they're taken off for 10 minutes and then they return. That is when they get a blue card or orange card, whatever they call it.
Blue, yeah.
This has happened in not even the National League South. We're talking lower. This is the county leagues, the regional leagues. They have had those rules before as Lee Meadows disappears, and now he's back. We've just sent him to the sin bin. That's a demonstration there.
It's very nicely done. Very good.
He goes and praises Nketiah and Havertz. He goes in the sin bin. There you go. That's what we do here.
Right.
The sin bin rule has happened in the regional leagues, county leagues, but it's not gone as far as the top divisions, such as the Premier League, for example. Personally, I do not want this game to be continuously disrupted and ruined.
Yeah.
What do you think about all this? Because I just can't be bothered anymore.
Yeah, here's the thing, right? I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate with you.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily going to endorse what I'm about to say.
But for the sake of an argument, you
got it. So obviously, there was a time, when we didn't have any cards at all. Can you imagine the carnage that was? Go and watch the football in the 70s and people having a fight and there's no cards going on. It's great because you don't know what.
And that was just in the crowd.
No, that was in the commentary box. No, so we had this innovation of having the yellows and red cards, And now, of course, we're now into a new generation entirely. We're looking at VAR. I mean, and that's going really well too. So why not? Why not just add a little bit more confusion to the whole matter? But if it means that there's better behaved individuals on the pitch, I think what they're suggesting is only certain little bits that they're suggesting, right? So, how can I say, when you're chatting back to the referee and stuff like that. Now, if you look at other sports, like rugby, for example, I'm not a big rugby man, but you can see the players are so much more respectful to the referees than the football players are. This is a scientifically proven fact. So what better way to get a better example than to put people in timeout, if you like? So like, I've had enough of you, young man. Off you go, or young lady, whatever you
On
like.
the naughty step.
On you go, naughty step, and go and think about what you just did. Right? Look, it's going to need a lot of work. And do you know, we're having debates. Is this a yellow card? Is this a red card? Is this a goal? Why not just throw something else out there as well? Is this a blue card? I don't like the idea at all. And I laughed a little bit when I saw Paul Merson's reaction to it on on Sky Sports app today, when he's like this, head in the hands kind of thing. But is it a resistance to change? This sort of penalty box idea is big in some sports, you know, like in hockey, you get, you know, put in the penalty box for 5 minutes if you happen to drop your stick and you're starting to throw the rights and lefts at someone. So look, I don't know. It's going to take a lot of work. If it happens in a cup competition, maybe, I don't know. It might be good, interesting to see it in something that gets a little bit of publicity. For example, like the Youth Cup that gets TV coverage, like the Carabao Cup, like anything else that maybe not going. Yeah, go on. Sorry. Yeah.
This is how they introduced VAR. They put it in the FA Cup for a couple of games. And then they made it in the World Cup. Do you think we'll see the sin bin for the Euros this year?
For this year, no.
No.
I mean, but I wouldn't rule anything out. You know what the wise people that run that beautiful game are up to. So, and I believe it's a board of referees or refereeing sort of connection where they discuss certain rules that happens in this country. I believe we may have spoken about this a few months ago, where you've got I think you've got representatives for England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and then I think you've got someone else from the rest of the world or something. So basically, the rest of the world is represented by one or two other people. So I only knew this through watching Sky Sports News, so I didn't really know. There's a proper name for this body of senior figures. The Italian referees in it.
Kalina.
That's the fella. That's, you know, someone notable who in fact when he refereed, you wouldn't give him back chat as a referee because he's too intimidating. He did his job really, really well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, he had firm control in the game. So look, yes, AFC always. I will be in position. I may be riding solo, but I will be doing the watch along. So I would imagine it's a 2:00 kickoff. I think I'll be in position about 10:02. I will be joined by Miss and Mrs. Meadows.
There we go. And you do not want to miss that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amy, who should everybody subscribe to? Guna. That's right. She knows.
Well done. You've taught her well. I'm impressed.
Thank you very much. Thank you. She's a subscriber. You should too.
You other than that, okay, you mentioned You mentioned Leah Williamson, who
did.
started against West Ham for Arsenal women, who was replaced at half time. These are from the notes you sent me.
Yep.
She's in contention to play against Man City, which is this week, I believe.
It's on the same day. It's on Sunday. I think it's a 12:30 kickoff in the FA Cup. I mentioned Katie McCabe is available for selection as well. She was suspended for the defeat to West Ham. Of course, the game that we're supposed to have in the midweek against the London Lionesses, wasn't it? Was called off, unfortunately, due to a waterlogged pitch. So yes, they sort of had the midweek off, which was a bit of a pain, but there it is. It's a big game before the Premier League game. I won't be doing a double watch along because I do need to have a bit of a rest. I don't know how much of my voice you guys could tolerate for 2.5 hours is enough.
Yes. Also, I think that's it on the Arsenal front. In case you want to know, Ebbsfleet are away to Chesterfield tomorrow. I won't be making the trip to Chesterfield. Managerless, well, caretaker manager, Ebbsfleet, Darren Searle, the caretaker manager there, because of course, as I mentioned, they've parted ways with Dennis Kutry, which both me and my dad think was the right decision. He did a great job of getting us promoted, but bad results, leading us well deep down in the bottom, in the relegation zone. Playing deep down in the bottom sounds like something else. That's the second. Anyway, in the relegation zone, and
I don't even want to know what you're going with there.
Bad results for Ebbsfleet have sent us into the relegation zone.
The dark side of Bertie Wanless.
You don't want to see that. And that we needed a change at Ebbsfleet. And at the Oldham game, which was on TV last week, despite it was a 0-0 draw, but we saw, myself and my dad, we saw a lot more positives than negatives. So hopefully we'll see what happens there.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Although
Chesterfield, though, it worked well. We're going to need a bit of good luck because Chesterfield are top of the league. So, and we're at their ground. So, if we get any kind of like point there, it would be like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, it's worth noting on Sunday, technically Monday in the UK, it's the Super Bowl. And my boys, the San Francisco 49ers, are in there against the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes,
fair enough.
I watched my first NFL game. It's a shame Gun Down isn't in the chat because I know he's a big NFL fan.
Yeah.
Because I was in San Francisco don't know if I've mentioned that at all. There was a
briefly,
big game. If the 49ers won, they'd go to the Super Bowl. And they did. It was a miraculous comeback. And and it's funny because I've supported the 49ers for a day back then. And I've seen them reach the same amount of finals as Arteta has at Arsenal in 4 years. Will we get the same amount of trophies? Let's see.
So other than watching the NFL, I believe you had a jolly nice time watching the Royal Rumble as well. How did that go for you?
That's
watching the Royal Rumble in a big public event like that go for you?
That actually was fantastic. It was so good, and it's funny because there wasn't many people in there before it kind of began, but we saw
staggered entries. Was it every 90 seconds?
Yeah, every 90 seconds.
Yeah,
we saw two people walk in, and one of them, the guy who I filmed on Twitter, who downed that beer in 3 sips. Big up, Froy. Was
come on,
he had an "I'm Your Pappy" t-shirt,
nice.
Which was and I thought, hey, we looked at because I said, oh, wrestling, and like we looked thinking, hey, he's one of us, and then we kind of sat together, and where's the photo of because it was a good. Oh, it's not. There we go. See, good people.
There you go.
And yeah, with that Royal Rumble, like a lot of people said that it was a bit average and predictable. If I was at home watching, I would have probably said the same. But when you're in a bar with a bunch of great wrestling fans eating buffalo wings and drinking cider, you're gonna think differently.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, this is brilliant. And yeah, big. Funnily enough, when Jay and Jimmy Uso entered at 1 and 2, them, mostly Jay, because he's the babyface, got a big pop from the bar. You want to know why?
Why is that?
They're hometown boys, San Francisco.
San Fran. Okay, cool.
And it was a big old pop when Cody won, which was always nice to see. And glad
interesting
that
how the story
hopefully,
developed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially last night. I was watching that on the bus on the way to work today.
Oh,
the big
really?
press conference in Las Vegas. Yeah, I was watching that today. Do we think The Rock's going to be in the Elimination Chamber? What do you think?
I think it'll be part of the event in some capacity, but I don't know. There's talk about a potential tag match, Roman and Rock against Cody and Seth. That could either
On
be
night one.
Mania or at Chamber, but probably night one at Mania. I don't know. I think. Go on.
Go.
Okay.
You finish.
I think they've just suddenly announced, oh, it's now Cody Roman at Mania, just like that. I think there's a lot more twists and turns coming. We've got so many weeks to Mania, so many weeks of more build. I think there's there'll be some potential stuff going on. I think there'll be lots more twists.
It's funny because the standout image from last night was that right? Rock on Cody. How about that 1-on-1?
Yeah, that could that be at Chamber? I don't know.
It depends if Rock's going to Australia. That's the other thing as well.
Yeah. Do you think The Rock will screw Reigns at Mania? That could when Cody wins and Roman Rock, I don't know, SummerSlam maybe. Could be an idea.
I mean, the fact that Rock went proper heel yesterday was interesting. Mind you, it kind of fits the old corporate Rock character, doesn't it? Because he's in the boardroom now.
He's like and he was wearing that vest with his muscles out and everything. He looks like a proper henchman and everything with Roman. Like these two are gonna. I like these two. Look like they're gonna run the show on SmackDown. They look dominant. And also, I hope we get a bit of Hollywood Rock as well, because Hollywood Rock is fantastic.
Oh, yes.
And if you want to know what I'm on about, look at what. Do you remember his little feud with the Hurricane?
Yes, I do.
It's fantastic.
that happened just before Mania, didn't it? Yeah. Which one was it? Was it 19?
It was the Triple H and Booker T one. It was Mania 19.
Yeah, that's funny. I got the number right in my top of my head. No, I remember Rock and Hurricane went 1-on-1. Was it at Raw or SmackDown? And Hurricane got the roll-up win after Austin's music played.
Yeah,
great. But yeah, good times. Good times. Would you like to talk about the other reason why you were in San Fran?
Oh, what, the conference?
Yeah. Would you like to add a little bit?
I don't want to bore people with like boring old work stuff though. So, look, I don't want to like name anything because, as you like to mention, a certain supermarket. I'm not gonna try and mention a certain charity. But let's just say a certain large charity in the UK is developing an international partnership with a media company in the US. And because my dad plays a very important role in that certain charity.
He knows his role, does he?
He knows his role, definitely. But he was invited to San Francisco, and he said, "You know what, Bertie? Because you're now famous, you're Posh Bertie from Gooner Gathering. It would get us a bit more clout if
And
you
Wrestle
came."
Dogs.
And Wrestle Dogs as well. Subscribe to them too. Yeah. So I went, and it was one of the, if not the best week of my life, and I wanna live there forever. Maybe not in the summer because it'll be boiling, but
We'll
yeah.
have a melting Posh Bertie, won't we?
Blimey. But yeah, it was such a great. I had a great time. Monday and Tuesday I was there for business, but Saturday and Sunday,
Yeah.
there to eat some buffalo wings and watch the Royal Rumble in the NFL.
What better way to spend a weekend than doing that? So there you go. That's the spelling of Wrestle Dogs, guys.
Excellent. And Posh Bertie says it as well, because this is going
It's
on my
your
channel.
channel as well.
On my channel as well. You controlling my channel now.
There you go.
Yeah. Please check them out.
As the sole owner of Gooner Gathering.
He's going to inject my channel with a lethal dose of poison. Good heavens.
Yeah. Nikita and Havart's coming straight to your channel.
And on that note, I think this is the time to end the stream. It was what a lovely time. And thank you for the run-in, by the way. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I always come and support you when I can, mate. So it's just because I knew Anna was wasn't far away. So I thought I'd jump in and add my 2 cents worth. Yes, the Triple H face-off with Rock. Interesting. Language was interesting as well. Got a bit spicy.
Yeah. It's heating up. The heel heat is definitely heating.
And I believe one Triple H will address the live crowd at SmackDown tonight. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens there. He will step into the ring, and for 20 minutes, he will talk and say absolutely nothing. And
he'll say, "I'm coming out of retirement. I'm gonna face Roman instead," and Cody has to go through it all again.
No, we'll be more Cody crybabies.
You heard it. You heard it here first. Posh Meltzer here. Anyway, you can find me on Twitter or X at Posh Bertie and Instagram at Bertie Wanless. I also run Gooner Gathering's Instagram account, where you see a lovely, and I give you credit for this, me on the flip chart in the office saying, "Join us for this video."
I was very creative on my lunch break today, I can tell you that much. What an artist I am, huh?
Fantastic.
Yes. Thank you, Bertie. And before I do my sign out, big up to AFC Always' daughter. Happy birthday, 12 years old. Is that Tiana? Tiana. Happy birthday. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tiana. Happy birthday to you.
There you go.
There you go. A singing performance from yours truly. And to run up the show, you can find me at Goonerly Mead. You can find us on X at Gooner Gathering. I take care of the TikTok channel as well, just for laughs and ha-has. And big thank you very much for everybody who joined us. It's been a busy show, boys and girls. I will see you for the match on Sunday. If anything happens tomorrow, I will certainly bring it to you on a short video, but I'm on daddy duty myself tomorrow afternoon, so and a certain busy supermarket needs my assistance tomorrow as well. Goodness me, God help me. But yeah, that wraps us up for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Bertie, for hosting, and we shall see you very soon indeed.